Hey, it's the Chief Bonding with Board Games and RPGs with GMT's game, The Plum Island Horror. This is a very unique take on the zombie genre. And I know it doesn't say zombies, it talks about horrors, but these are shuffling undead that are coming for you in a fun, campy, humorous, yet tactile and strategic way that you can defend and evacuate. Let's go in and just take a little brief look at what I'm talking about. We'll come back out and give my thoughts. I'm at the long end of the map, and you can see right up here is where the horrors or zombies will be spawning. And the way I'm going to describe a big part of the game is tower defense. Most people know how a tower defense game works, and that is a lot of the basis of these horrors or zombies that are going to spawn here. The map is divided by this canal or this river drainage area so that you clearly have a left and a right side of the map with a little bit of, the way it moves around, bridges that connect, damaged bridges, damaged areas. But as these horrors spawn, they'll simply march. Get my hand out of the way. They'll simply march down the map following the arrows. But just to have that gist of them moving down, and you as the player trying to move your citizens down and either get them onto ferries or Coast Guard ships or get them to bridges that will allow them to get back to the mainland and survive. So here's our baseline cards that will give you all of the randomization you'll need for tons of repeated play. So when you draw a fate card, you're going to have a spawn location, which will be the top of the map I showed you, where the horrors will be loading up and getting ready to spill down towards you in that tower defense. You'll have an activation area, which will mean you're activating one of these lines that runs the length of the map. And if there's any horrors in that area, you'll know you'll be activating the ones that are furthest down. You will then have, if I can get on here, I know I'm not zoomed in, but I'll probably throw a picture up on the side. At the bottom, you will have an area that will tell you if you're going to draw an event card or not. And then you have the number as well, which can be used totally independently. You're just looking for a random number, and often you'll have to draw a card, flip it, and just look at that random number. In this track, you'll be tracking your turns and the actions you'll be taking, whether or not it's day or night. The biohazard track, if it maxes out, you're going to lose. Also, the overrun track, you're going to lose. You need to save a certain amount of citizens in order to win. And this track will also determine how many of the horrors are spawning. So turn order in the game is a chip pull system, so I would be putting all of these tokens into the bag. In this case, I've got it set up for a two-player game, and I'm playing solitaire. So I've got 2 tokens for each of the factions, in this case, the police and the National Guard. Then there are 3 tokens that will activate the horrors. I would end up flipping a card and spawning some more and then activating a track. And then I have the impending doom marker, which would mean I would draw one of the event cards right over here. Each individual action based on these tokens is very simple, very procedural. I'm not going to go through all of that. It's walked through by a very handy helper aid card. And if you're confused at any of that, you have the rule book, which will break it down. And then you can even go in and reference guide if you're confused in any way. So as these horrors activate in tower defense style and march closer and closer to your citizens and your key landmarks, you will be activating your special units on your card in order to defend, search, or move civilians as you see fit. And that's where all the meat of the game is going to be placed. It's the individual actions that you will be taking with your characters, very thematic. And each card is very unique, campy. There's a lot of humor going on here, yet also war game-like and strategic all at the same time. You're tracking supplies. Supplies will help you move around the map in vehicles, gasoline. They will help you shoot ranged combat, but you're running out of ammo. So you're maintaining your supplies in order to stand off and fight, or you're getting into basically close combat. So let me zoom in on these cards and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So this NPC card will always be out and available to all the players. Of course, again, you've got a little helper guide based on the type of terrain that the horrors are moving through. And this little diagram here will show you what all the detail is on one of the player standees. It breaks down close combat, range combat, movement, health, all of these different things. Let me clear this out of the way. Okay, let me break down a card a little bit just so you understand you're dealing with these exact individuals. And every different card has humor sprinkled in and a lot of different tactical information that each of the different individuals can do. And a big part of the enjoyment of this game is going to be mixing and matching these different types of factions and then figuring out how you're going to utilize these individuals, in their different roles. All right, we have Commander Jess. Now, she's a leader, and if she is within the square or a zone of any of her other faction members, she can increase both of their combat ratings by 1. Now, the cool thing is she doesn't have to just be in the same area. She can be up to 2 adjacent. So she's able to send out basically commands and direct and inspire her units. Sergeant Forrest carries a shotgun, so if he were to get a light hit, he gets to count it as a full hit. You have Corporal Larry with an M60 machine gun, so he has shock and awe. And if he gets a critical hit, he gets to place a stunned marker on the stack of horrors. Private Homer here is very good against a stack of horrors, and in close combat only, he gets a +2. Private Mac Reacher, MP, clearly got to have something to do with the show. He's got a long special action, which basically allows him to set up a checkpoint and get supplies. And then each faction card will have some type of compound. This one's heavy sandbags, and which means if you're in close combat, you get to add an extra shield on your dice roll results. Now, each card is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to flip through them quickly, and I'll point out some of the cool, or to me, cooler aspects. So with the police, the detective, Francis Drebin, gets to look at 2 search cards instead of just 1. I also really love the dog. Not only does he have a bunch of cool abilities, including a very nice number 4 to his admin rating. I guess he's like Lassie. He can come help you and bring you along. But due to his sense of smell, he can search for supplies even if the icon isn't present. So on a normal space, you can usually only search if you have the proper icon, the binoculars. But of course, the dog can find all kinds of things. So nice little tidbits that you get. And then for your compound, you actually have this rolling paddy wagon, which allows you to actually pick citizens up and protect them a little bit while you're hopefully rolling them to safety. We have the Island Athletic Club. So again, we have a very good leader. I'm not going to go into it. I like our lifeguard. He can swim around to different beaches. But our ladies here that are playing doubles tennis, they have a deadly serve apparently, and they can just really do some nice ranged combat with those tennis balls. And so can our golfer, if I can get my finger on here. The golfer can even extend that further 2 zones out. And a very cool thing for their compound is if the compound is built, you have to build these compounds. There's an endless supply at this sporting goods store of tennis balls and golf balls. So you no longer have to hit your supplies in order to do all these ranged combats. Again, we have our leader, but you also have our guy here, Ralph Norton, who is a great repairer. So there will be bridges out in this game. There will be a power station that's out. There are docks that need to be repaired. There's helicopters that might need fixing. He's your guy. When he goes in, he pulls 2 fate cards, and on the fate card, you're looking at that number, and then you want a high number. A 6 means you're going to remove all damage. A 1 means you've messed up. You've made it worse, but he can't do that. He gets to ignore that. So very nice to have him running around. All right, the last thing to show is not a faction you control, but these are like big baddies. So you've got your regular horrors running around the map, marching down closer and closer to you, but these are ones that get spawned and cause you other types of trouble. And they're standees, so you can see them clearly differentiated from the horrors. And again, I just wanted to show you some of the campy nature of what you'll be dealing with. So there's a great amount of humor that's present and a lot of fun tactical and strategic choices to be made. And a fun little inside baseball note. So one of these little civilian counters is Moe's Game Shop. And normally you would think, okay, but there's a YouTuber that is Mo. And then we have my favorite, which is Pancaldi's Deli. And that's when I knew this was inside baseball. So you're saying, what's Pancaldi's Deli? Well, if you've ever noticed, my music is done by Dan Pancaldi. He's an Italian-Canadian. And he has his own channel? He has his own channel as well, No Enemies Here. So a very nice nod, and I didn't look through all of the counters, and I'm sure I'm probably missing some, but Dan Pancaldi's, or I guess Pancaldi's Italian Deli is a place, or a group I would like to save. How many are in here? Just one. So Dan, we'll get you out of there. We'll get you to safety. All right, I love these inside baseball nods. Again, I'm wondering how many more I'm going to find. Let's pull out. I'll give you my final thoughts. So you've seen the map, but before we go any further, right in the title, Defend and Evacuate. Tower defense. I'm just telling you, this is that tower defense feel. If you have seen Herman Lutman's State of Siege games, you kind of know there's that marching, that inevitability that is coming your way, but just taking this as what it is. First of all, art direction, phenomenal. Wow. Way to send the signal that this is going to be a fun, lighthearted, horror, zombie type game. We're not trying to be bitterly realistic. You're not going to feel sad when this is over, probably, unless maybe Pancaldi goes away. But the tone is set and the art direction sends that tone. And then as you've seen, the player factions that you have in front of you that you're controlling, and then all the individuals on there are fun and light and tactical and strategic. And that's where all the depth lies. So, you know, you're pulling the chits. Great. Random, you don't know which way that's going to resolve. Perfect, because it gives you different problem states just within your turn order. I got to tell you, I love when the zombies, horrors, hit a bridge that's damaged. Like ants, they fall off that edge or that cliff or fill that ravine or that river with their bodies until they can cross. And then that damage is removed. I love that little aspect of it. Dark, yet not in this tense, not in this sense. Tense sense. So then it circles back to you're evacuating these folks off the island and you're trying to hold back the horrors. And then the same theme that you see pictured, as you're tactically and strategically trying to do that, you've got these light-hearted, humorous ways in which you're doing it. Sometimes you're using the air hog and it's just mowing down 1,000 horrors or whatever they are. And other times, maybe it's Blart rolling up on his Segway and doing his business and then skedaddling on said Segway. So you get these light touches all throughout the game. So that's really what I want to focus on. If you like tower defense and the strategic / tactical problems they present as you're dealing with it, and the multiple different layers of player cards that allow you, as soon as you get it down, hey, I can take these guys out with the the guards and the police. Well, then you mix in, let me see, I want to get these ladies going with the tennis balls. and you can see how the game doesn't take itself too seriously. So refreshing. Way to go, GMT. This is so unique in GMT's wheelhouse, because this shows you can swing from a grognard stacked set of chits and big maps and supply and combat resolution tables, and then you can slide over to something campy and funny and humorous, yet still tactical with little combat board game feels that are tucked in there, but you have these little problems you have to solve within the game. So a lot of joy. They're already working on an expansion, which of course is going to add some more player bits and some more cards. I don't think another map, but you can see how that mixing and matching of the different player board factions, and then how you tweak it and optimize, is where, at least for me, hopefully, or maybe for you, or maybe not, is where a lot of the fun's going to come from. And again, it doesn't take itself too seriously. So you know now, I'm just telling you, you know now if this is the kind of game you'd want to play or not. You can't take it too seriously, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Yet you're dealing with problems as they present themselves, and enough randomizers that it's still kind of fresh or unique, and your skill levels can kind of rise with the game as you go. Oh, and I think the new version has some kind of like atomic hard level or something. I don't know. So, but we're not reviewing what's coming in the future. I'm just saying that it has all these neat possibilities, and you already know if you like those possibilities or if it's too campy for you. Tower defense, enjoyment with a tactical twist. A tactical twist. Chief, bonding with board games and RPGs. Way to go. Way to go.